This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes, for your half-assed entertainment news with no bullshit, with our hosts, the Baroness and Bear Fiorda, only on Talk 4 Me.
G'day. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. I'm your host, Summer Helene, and we're on with my co-host, the baddest bear in the cage, Bear Fiorda.
Yeah, you got my title back.
You got my title correct, so I'm happy to give you yours.
That's right, I did. Thank you. But in a different show.
What show were you on today?
I was on a show that features entrepreneurs and basically highlights strategies for getting ahead in your industry, or in my case, discussing social media and building a nonprofit. So it was a wonderful time.
Why didn't you bring Lex on with you? She knows more about building a nonprofit than you do. She built your nonprofit.
Well, I definitely highlighted her, and actually you and my mother, of course, because those are people who know way more than me about doing that part. It was the social media and like promoting it. I think I had the biggest ability to speak on at the time.
I completely agree. That's amazing. How did you learn about social media?
I did highlight you as well in that interview. That was the you part. And then just the biggest thing I learned always, and this is totally irrelevant to probably what we're going to discuss, but it's always make sure you're not the smartest person in the room. There's a time and place for it.
I make sure I'm the dumbest. But I think that goes with anything. If you're a fighter, if you're the best fighter in the room, you're not going to learn anything.
Right.
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're not going to learn anything.
Right.
I'm always the dumbest person in the room. And the people I listen to most actually are my uncle and my aunt. They've built an incredible business. And my aunt didn't murder my uncle while doing it, which is unbelievable.
That's more incredible.
Mm-hmm. Which is unbelievable. I truly, truly admire my aunt.
Yeah.
I think, don't get me wrong, my uncle has a brilliant mind. He does. But he has a brilliant and disorganized mind. So the combination of him and my aunt, I think, create a situation where there is success.
Yeah.
Because she goes through and takes his ideas and makes them profitable.
She organizes
the thoughts. And it's really clever. And then, of course, because of her, they invested in real estate and all of that. I mean, really brilliant couple. And I think they bring out the best in each other. And again, the fact that she hasn't murdered him, I consider a win.
A lot of patience and compassion.
I see the same thing with my brother and my sister-in-law.
Oh yeah?
No, really. She hasn't murdered him. Really is okay. The starting line. My brother has an amazing eye. One of the rings he brought over yesterday is a cabochon emerald. That's like a little dome emerald.
Yeah.
With ombre tiny emeralds going into diamond. I mean, really an incredible ring. It's gorgeous. I love it. I want it desperately, but I'm not, I'm not paying that much for it.
So what's he asking for it?
It's a Colombian emerald.
Okay.
So I don't
Is it harder to get emeralds out of Colombia?
You'd think. It depends. How much cocaine do you get? No, I'm kidding.
Do we require drugs?
No.
It's not like a blood emerald, is it? Or
no, there's nothing called a blood emerald. You're thinking of blood diamonds.
I am, yes.
And blood diamonds come out of Africa, and actually most diamonds in circulation would be classified blood diamonds, unless you're looking at something that is lab created. But realistically, without my sister-in-law, I don't think my brother would be doing as well. She handles, like my aunt does for my uncle, the day-to-day operations and the day-to-day functionality. And that's probably why my aunt and my sister-in-law get along so well, is they're really brilliant. And my uncle's business is actually one of the ones that for you guys does the giveaways every week. We have paid sponsorships, but my uncle very kindly gives away an ATV ride every single week. So if you go and watch Bear's stint on, what channel was it?
When it gets me, I'll be able to push it out.
Excellent. Okay, so instead we will talk about we'll save our giveaway for when our guest gets on.
Yes.
I want to know how her face is doing.
What happened to her face?
I will let you know when she gets on.
Okay. Is it still a face?
It's still a face.
Okay, good. That's always the worst case. When the face turns into a hand, it gets really muddy at that point. I wanted to make it a joke. I didn't know where it was going to go. Stop looking at the camera with your... What shape eyes do you have?
Oh, I have very, very round eyes.
With your round eyes. Now stop judging me with your round eyes. It's like doe eyes, actually.
Yeah, I have very dull eyes.
That's okay though. You look beautiful today. You look beautiful
really,
every day.
He's really trying to hang a left away from his not funny jokes.
Then you hang the left. I'll let you drive.
That's all right. We'll just sit here and talk about your joke.
I don't want to sit here and talk about my joke. That's a bad idea for everyone involved.
Why?
Because I'm going to keep trying to save it. It's like one disaster after another. And then I'm going to start stuttering, and then I'm going to cry and walk away, and then you don't have a co-host.
No, it's fine. I can do this so that a co-host did for years. If you'd like to cry, we could make that our thumbnail.
If I'll make a pretty good thumbnail. Let's see if I can force a tear out right now.
So we've had a lot going.
Thank you for our sound engineer. Good joke. High five. Bam. Appreciate you.
I love him.
Oh, he's the best.
So essentially, we've had a lot going on in the world today. We've had a lot going on in Hollywood today.
Right.
We're going to start a little bit with royalty. We have VE Day in Europe, which is Victory Day. And the last survivors of, are around for World War II, and we're really getting to the end.
I know.
So it's funny you don't think about that. I go to Anzac Day in Australia, and you see the fellows are getting fewer and fewer.
That's okay. They've already started teaching history improperly anyways regarding World War II.
America has started teaching everything improperly. Don't get me wrong. This is my country by choice. But you guys don't learn history. You learn about history. And frankly, now even what you're learning about is wrong.
No, I mean, that's the problem is history books change so much. And while we get new information, that's great that they re-edit those and put it out to the masses. However, a lot of times they get re-edited for the sake of what makes people more comfortable or what they're getting paid to put in there. Everything is a financial industry. So it's anything that's even government run these days is probably going to be lobbied to be in someone's favor in one way or another.
Do you know what we call lobbying where I come from?
Bribery.
Yeah, bribery.
Which is not allowed. It's not allowed anywhere, by the way. You're not allowed to bribe anyone in the United States Congress, but you can lobby for certain things to happen.
Which is bribery.
It's lobbying.
No.
We live in a democracy, okay?
No, you don't.
No, we don't. We live in a republic.
Yeah. You're in a republic.
And
I'd like to point out every great republic fell for exactly the same reason you guys are suffering from late stage capitalism.
Late stage capitalism? What's wrong with capitalism? I think done right, it's fine.
Nothing's wrong with capitalism.
Okay.
But when you get to late stage capitalism, which is what is happening here in the United States, which is where the money takes over, people miss the point. Like they look at the 50s as if it was the greatest time in American history. And for some people it was, just not for women or people of color or minorities in any way.
It was good for white men.
Fine. But if you want to go back to that time, that means you need to have more union intervention, more government spending, more government projects. The reason it was a great time in history is because the government gave more to its people and more heavily taxed the rich. Now, that being said, I don't mind you not taxing the rich. Some of us like to keep our money.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with living in the time that you're at. There's no better time to exist in the world than there is in this moment where you are right now.
Oh, agreed. Medicine.
Exactly. Why do you want to be born back in a time where polio was so prevalent that they didn't have a way to stop it?
Don't forget, people don't believe in polio anymore.
Do they not believe in polio or do they not believe in vaccines?
Both.
Because I can understand people being afraid of putting a foreign substance in their body, but to disregard people living in the iron lung.
You have literally had the last man living in an iron lung just died, actually.
Well, okay, maybe that's why.
And you've had every possible vaccine.
I'm okay getting vaccination. That doesn't bother me. I'm saying I can get why other people may be like, I don't want that in my body or whatnot. But to disregard something that killed probably is it millions yet? Maybe not millions of people, at least hundreds of thousands of people.
I would like you to go back 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. It is now 2020.
Yep. And people disregarded something
May,
that killed.
So we're all locked down right now.
Yeah, and people disregarded things that killed millions of people.
The government has neglected to send me my first stimmy check by this point.
A lack of education is really what's killing this country.
Yeah, that's how they make you dumb anyways.
This is my country by choice, but I'm not in a position where any of it affects me. If I can afford private education, I can afford to do what I please.
Your Baroness is really showing right now. just putting that out there.
But now that being said, that's earned. I was not born wealthy. I was born titled, not wealthy.
No, you had to put in a lot of work. That was the point.
But that's the difference. Is there's no such thing as truly self-made. I had a lot of help.
Mm-hmm. No, I think everyone to be successful requires help. And at that, you require help from people who've done it longer than you, multiple people, lots of years of wisdom behind what they're telling you. And probably even, in some cases, you get like a helping hand. You know, like what was Donald Trump's first thing? He got like $1 million loan or something from his father.
His dad, yeah. He called it a small loan, not a small loan.
No, that's a big loan.
Unfortunately, yeah. We're not going to talk about politics, especially because financially he's made terrible. $2 million, yeah. He's made terrible financial decisions in his lifetime.
Man.
The one good thing,
but we're not here to judge his financial decisions, right?
Oh, I judge them all the time.
All right, never mind.
I judge them all the time. He'd have far more money if he just hadn't have invested in, Trump stakes and
I think someone did a math on that or whatever, where if he just kept all the money he was ever given by his family or by investors or not investors, people who he didn't have to pay back, and he never invested he would have made more.
Okay, that's not what it is.
Okay, then you explain.
Essentially, what he had inherited from his father, if put away, would have accrued so much interest. He would be one of the wealthiest men in the world currently, and he's lost more than he's ever made. He just had so much that it didn't matter. The big thing was, though, when the producers, and this is jumping back into film, the producers of his boardroom show came in.
The Apprentice, you mean? Yeah. Oh, you're fired. I love that show.
When they come in, Trump Tower was in such disrepair, and so and he was so broke. He himself told the story of walking down the street with his daughter, explaining the homeless man had more money than he did.
The homeless man was $4 billion richer than he was at the time.
Well, essentially, The Apprentice told everyone and tricked everyone into saying this man was a money genius, but he made his money off The Apprentice. So that's kind of the catch, is they leaned into his branding because he had that branding, but he'd actually already lost more than most people will ever see.
That kind of reminds me a lot of the people, like the social media gurus
and this
online.
This is not about politics. This is simply about entertainment.
This is finance or entertainment.
This is entertainment.
Entertainment.
And essentially, it's very much like the gurus online.
Yeah.
This is how you make this. Do you have any money? The person I listen to most about money is my aunt and my uncle, because I think they're brilliant. And they've done an amazing job. I have friends that have made, millions and millions and millions of dollars. Those are the people you should listen to. Do not take advice from anyone who leads a life you don't want to live. Ever.
I only argue that for Andrew Tate, because people want the life he leads.
He has been arrested for trafficking women. Who wants that?
They don't believe that. They believe it was a sham arrest.
They do not take advice from anyone whose life you don't want to live. And if you are dumb enough to believe that Andrew Tate is intelligent or capable or not a career criminal, then please, I encourage you to follow him. Follow his courses. And when you go to prison, don't say you weren't surprised.
At least you'll be giving money to his defense attorneys.
That's it. At least you'll get 3 hots and a cot.
What the hell's that?
3 hot meals and a bed to sleep in when you're in jail.
3 hots and a cot. Okay.
It's usually used for the military, but whatever.
No, prison's fine. Prison works. Depending on where you go, you might even get a TV in your prison.
There you go.
If you're in Finland, they give you TV in your cell.
Because they believe in rehabilitation. America, though, has the largest prison industrial complex in the world. You guys actually implemented it when you stopped having slavery. You replaced slaves with convicts and war criminals, and that's how you replaced it, and that's why you have the largest prison industrial complex in the world. And the reason it's called the prison industrial complex is because so many goods and services are made with prison labor.
Well, do you know why they do that?
Because America was built on a slave economy and they didn't know how to replace it, so they replaced it with prisoners. Duh, we're taught that in history.
It makes money.
Yes,
that's it. Even if that didn't make most of it, that wasn't profitable for some reason, they wouldn't do it. It's just the fact that money exists.
Your economy would have collapsed without it. So literally collapsed. Probably, because the South was the most profitable, but the least industrious.
Yeah.
And so after your Civil War, you had to do something to move back to productivity, and that's what they come up with.
Is making prisoners do the work.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
So your entire economy would collapse without prisoners. That's why you have the largest number of incarcerated persons in the world.
Well, that said, now, not per capita. Could we not switch it to anything else? Like, let's say we don't have prisons anymore. What would we do to make it? Because we wouldn't just collapse immediately. We would have to figure something out.
It would actually you'd have to rehaul your entire system because you never rebuilt your slave economy.
We're not going to rebuild our slave economy.
No, meaning you didn't rebuild after.
Oh,
you
I see.
replaced your slaves with prisoners.
Yeah.
Essentially, you are on the same system you've always been on. It's actually really ingenious. I mean, it's inhumane. I'm not saying it's not, but it's really ingenious the way you guys did it. It was brilliant.
Oh, you rest assured we were not taught that in school.
Really? We were.
No, we
and
were
I
not.
grew up. And
Why
I did not
were
grow
you
up here.
taught that in your Australian school?
Because it's considered world knowledge.
Oh my God.
We are taught.
Well, when you guys win a world war, you decide what to write in the
We
books.
were on your side, dear. We won a World War II. 1 and 2.
I was about to say rule.
2 of them. Realistically, though, that's what we're taught, and we're taught. When I came here, and I've taken history exams and university exams here, I learned more about American history outside of America than I did inside.
Wow,
which is bizarre.
Honestly. Well, I don't know how long the concept has been going around, but I know that we don't really share history of the world. We share the America's history of the world.
Well, America's very large. So if you look at it, I mean, your states are essentially your Europe.
Yeah.
That's why they don't think within 100 years, America as we know it will exist. They do believe it will re-break along the Mason-Dixon line. But that being said, we have a very, very special guest today. Do we have Madison on?
She is.
All right.
I've got my assistant in the background yelling, she is.
Well, let's bring her on then.
I'm like, she is. I'm like, yeah, I'm talking to our sound engineer, Lex, not you. He's cuter. I'd like to welcome Madison to the show. Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Lovely. I heard you were horribly attacked. Would you like to tell us what happened?
Yeah. So I went to the Dodgers game last week, and thankfully I have healed quite well. But bringing you back to last week, I used to date somebody that was on the Dodgers. He's no longer on the Dodgers, but I'm still friends with the team. So they were like, oh my God, Madison, you're finally free for a day. You're off of work. Why don't you come down to the game and have a day out with your girls? And I was like, okay, great. So I was sitting in the family and friends section. My phone starts ringing. I look down to see who's calling, and it was Shaq. And I go to answer the call, and then I hear the whole stadium go, ooh. And I was like, oh no, did someone get hit? And then my friend Scarlett, who was sitting next to me, was like, oh my God, don't touch your face. And I was like, why? Because immediately when someone says don't do something, you
immediately want to do it.
Right. So I go to touch my face. I had blood all over my hands. And that's when I realized I got hit. And then I was like, where did I get hit? Did I break my nose, my cheekbone? Did I knock my teeth out? Like, what's the situation here? And so I'm like touching all over the place. And turns out I split my lip open. I got hit right here. And this whole area was very black and blue. Under my lip was destroyed. I can show you videos so that you guys can see the damage that was done. But we're a week later. Thankfully, a mouth heals very well. And the only things that I'm really dealing with now are these 2 teeth are very sensitive. So it's very hard to bite into a sandwich right now. And the dentists are keeping a close look to make sure that the teeth don't die because the nerves are so sensitive. And then my jaw was popped out of place. Oh, and the whiplash. So there's a few things.
Have you thought about competition fighting ever?
Maybe now.
Because you're telling me you got hit with the ball, whatever they hit, however fast they hit it, and no reaction. You're like, oh, just my face. There's something wrong with my face. Not even pain. That's fantastic.
That's shock.
I think my body went into shock.
Yeah. Well, it's fair.
But, I mean, maybe that's why I should go into fighting, because my body can handle it.
Yeah, evidently your body can handle a lot of damage, but no, you look fine. You look great, actually. I'm really happy it didn't have any impact on you.
Where can everyone
have a video to show you?
Well, where can everyone go to your social media to get a look at the?
Yes, if you go to @Madison Brodsky, BRODSKY, you can see the video of the aftermath when they required me to be carried out of the stadium on a stretcher. You can see my lip busted open. You can see all the drama, all the dramatics of it all. But I'm going to show you guys, since you're right here, just so you can see the inside of my lip a few days later. Ready for this?
Yeah.
So here, let's press play.
Yeah.
Nice.
Christ.
So that was a few days later when it started healing finally, and the stitches were healing. So Yeah, it's been a journey. It got a lot of media attention.
On the plus side, for hear me out, for them, at least it was somebody who was gifted tickets, so you're less likely to sue. I'm just saying.
You actually can't sue because you take the risk by attending a game. It's in your like terms and conditions when you pay for your tickets.
Oh, that's never
very,
stopped.
very smart though.
That
very
has
good.
never stopped anyone from suing.
People always try.
Though.
The important thing is, did you catch the ball?
No, it hit her.
Some dude behind me stole the ball and then pretended like he didn't, even though he did, and refused to give it back, which is very disappointing. I also don't know why you want that ball because it has my blood all over it. So, like, hand back my DNA, please.
He's got a story to tell
rude.
now.
I'd be on TikTok and be like, I got hit in the face with the ball and then this dude stole it.
This guy stole the ball.
It's already all over TikTok. Like, people are obsessed with it every single day. Say it again.
It needs the handle. Give her back her ball.
I mean, Summer, do you want to start it?
Yeah, I kind of do. He's
got give her back the ball.
He's got a couple mil. Have him start it. You start it.
Well,
I want her to have her back.
We'll do something about it.
Yes, please, Bear.
Our wonderful sound engineers chiming in. The only way to make right is to keep the ball and have it signed by everyone on the team.
Yep.
Yeah, I did hear that there was a gift package of some sort in the works that's being sent to me. So we'll see what's included in that.
Okay, so they're making amends for some. Yeah,
well, no, not really. It's like when you go to an MMA match. There was a lady who got hit in the eye with a tooth, and she tried to sue the UFC
with a tooth.
That one guy punched another guy. Tooth went flying, hit lady in the eye. It happens.
That's like the most unhygienic. What's the word I'm looking for? Hygienic.
All the things are how unhygienic it is.
I'm kind of with Madison. That's all I could think of is I have somebody else's spit and blood in my eye. I'm going to die of HIV.
It could have gone in your mouth.
I think it's worse in the eye.
It might be worse in the eye, actually.
Yeah, because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's a closed system. Like that's.
I don't know why I find that so funny.
Like your cornea can get scratched by that. Teeth are sharp.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, and your immune system. So your whole immune system doesn't even know that your eyes exist. Your eyes are an enclosed system. So if a virus gets in there or an infection gets in there, it does not affect the rest of your body, but you cannot get it out of the eye, which means you can't really take antibiotics for it. You can't do any of that because if your body knew your eyes were there, it would actually attack your eyes. So you learn this in basic biology. Again,
you have to do like eye drops. What's the solution to that?
Yeah. Eye drops. Yeah, it's medicine directly in the eye. Or, fun fact, if it gets bad enough, injections directly into the eye.
I don't know if I like this conversation.
So I'm like, yeah, that's not.
No, don't do that. No, just give me eye drop. I'd rather get an eye patch or something at that point. Don't stick a needle in my eye.
That's when your eye falls out.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll take a lost eye. I'll take a pirate aesthetic. I'll put a glass eye in.
But when you're putting the glass eye in, you're still opening your eye and shoving something in the eye socket.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's without protection. It does have its own immune system, as pointed out by our sound engineer again. You would just lose the eye potentially. That could be okay.
Okay, so I have to leave you because you're going to end up looking like what's his face?
Like what? Because I have an eye patch now.
Who's the guy that lost his eye?
Look,
if used to fight.
Anyone out there, she leaves me because I now have one less eye. If you're interested in pirates, I'll be on the market.
Bisping lost his eye, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And he uses a glass eye, and he's a true warrior for it, just like Madison here is a true warrior. I'm still just in shock that the impact itself didn't register at all.
How did you? Now you said it did your jaw. Did it pop out? What happened?
Yeah, my jaw like clicks now. It has that down. I don't know if you guys can hear it over the computer, but it has that like crazy sound whenever I move it. That's just something that like they can put back into place. I could get a mouth guard and wear for a few months and it will go back into place. But it's just the baby steps. And like so many people have been so kind. Like the whole Dodgers team, I feel like they're like, as soon as we're back on Sunday from our away games, we're taking you to dinner as like a huge apology. You pick the place. And then there's like a few spas that have reached out that have been like, let's help in your recovery. We'll do massages, facials. So very thankful for that.
No, that's really kind of them. You know what I'm curious to know is what does Shaq have to say about this?
That's not our phone.
No, that's my phone. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine as long as everyone.
Go ahead.
I was curious, what did the Shaq have to say about it? Was he on the phone?
Yeah, good catch. I was like, this is your fault. And he's like, no, it's not, but you're literally so strong. You're such a badass to power through it. And as soon as the NBA finals are over, he's going to come on out and take care of me. So he'll be in LA soon.
That's awesome.
I like that.
You know, it's very nice to have such good friends, but also people who really could help you. Like, let's say this was far more detrimental than what it was. Thankfully, it wasn't. You have a great support system. You made a lot of good connections out there that could provide you with real assistance.
Yeah, I think that I got insanely lucky. I mean, like, there have been people who have died from the exact same thing that I experienced. They just got hit like in the head or something like that. I don't know. But I'm very thankful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But it was still, number one, really effing painful. And number two, because I couldn't bite down for like about a week, I was just on a soup diet. So I was literally just drinking like broth every day. So I was starving. A few days ago, I got to have a salad for the first time, and it was the best thing ever. I was so excited that I could just like munch on something. I could bite down.
That makes sense.
I got to tell you, one of the things I'd written you in for, I say written, I do not write, for those out there. I am not a creative. But I had my write to do. We got greenlit for a stage play. We're, speaking with Jack Black and Tenacious D and all that to do the music in this. And it's Poultrygeist, Night of the Living Chicken. And I'd actually had you written in as a reporter to report on all that's going on. And it's being simulcast with, Netflix. It's a traveling stage play, the whole thing. And it's full of celebrities. And it's just everyone's doing it as this favored Lloyd. And I was like, I've got the perfect person to play like the April O'Neil character, which was you. And so I put this in. I was like, now I just wanted to get hit with a chicken drumstick or a ball or something in the face.
What an
we have
homage.
yes, we've got to add.
I know how to act now. I know how it feels. I know how to recreate it.
Perfect.
The baseball will make a cameo. It's got a little bit of blood trickling down from the side of it.
I'm just astounded. I mean, that's of anyone. I mean, you're talking about how many people are there? 10,000?
Probably more than 10,000.
And you got hit in the
honestly.
face?
Yeah, of all people, it had to have happened to me. I don't know who has my voodoo doll, but if they could just leave me alone, that would be fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah.
Because did you guys see what happened 4 months prior when I was at Super Bowl?
No, what happened at Super Bowl?
God, not another one.
I got stuck in the elevator for 45 minutes. And the elevator was going up and down the whole time, but it never opened.
Have you considered quitting sports events?
No, never. I go to a sporting event like at least twice a week, every week. So like the fact that it's only been 2 this year.
Yeah,
this year. I'm about to say that's a great ratio. Not so much anymore.
We've got this show we're doing. We've got royalty, and she was one of the people I wanted to send on one of the dates with the princess. I'm not sending them to a sports game.
Yeah, right. How about a nice dinner?
Maybe that's a bonding experience. Let's see how they take care of me.
I'm like the bubble wrap. I'm getting you bubble wrap.
No, someone tried to suffocate you in an elevator, and then they tried to directly take you out in the public eye.
Yeah. Can we like more so figure out who this person is?
Are you pissed off at
Exactly.
Vladimir Putin in any way?
I have never met that man.
Oh no, he's coming after you.
I am
The baseball. Very creative.
with the baseball.
The baseball, yeah.
So bad.
What a time. It's just so wild. Like I keep looking back at it being like, how did that happen? And how did I survive it? And then there's all these people that are like blowing up the comments either on Instagram or on TikTok. And they're like, I know so many people, not so many. I know people who have been like hit in the face by a baseball at a game and they died 3 days later. And I'm sitting there reading that like,
You're like, thank you for sharing that.
You're reading that on
helps.
like day 1 or day 2.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Well,
And then I'm calling everyone in my phone book. Please come over and watch me. I live alone. I don't want to die.
Yeah, make sure I'm still alive.
Yeah, make sure I'm breathing. Oh, that's terrible.
You know, you said you mentioned that you actually go to sports events twice a week if you can, like very frequently, evidently. Why? What got you into sports games to begin with?
I love sports. I grew up in a sports family. Both my dad and my brother played at the collegiate level. My brother was going to go on to the MLB, but unfortunately he was a COVID year and drafting got a little weird that year. So it just didn't work out for him. But grew up in Tampa, Florida, where we have the best sports, I like to say. And so I went to every Bucks game, every Tampa Bay Lightning game, every Yankees spring training. Not as much with the Rays because they're all the way in St. Pete, so it's a little bit of a drive, but just grew up in a sports family. I actually do know the game. I know what's happening in all the sports, except for rugby. I don't really understand rugby. But
I can explain rugby to you.
Okay, great. We'll exchange. I'll teach you football. You can teach me rugby.
It's off the. I cheerleaded. I know football quite well.
What sport don't you know?
Don't tell anyone. What don't I know? I don't understand baseball at all. It looks like a slow
that's
version.
like the easiest sport.
Perfect. Yeah,
That's
I got cricket. I don't understand baseball. I don't know what you guys are doing. It just looks like an odd version of cricket with the wrong pants.
So here, this is
How do you feel about rugby?
Rugby. That's how you feel about rugby. I was like, in defense, rugby started before gridiron. So ours
I know
came,
it did.
but you guys
That
did.
doesn't make sense. They're like cheerleaders. All of a sudden, they're doing like a stunt.
No, you know what? Here's rugby for
That's fair.
Matt. Here's rugby. You catch the ball and you run the opposite side of the field. And if someone gets in your way, you hit them with an elbow. You drop them with whatever you can.
That is technically legal.
So
if you take football and you mix it with MMA, but you cannot throw the ball forward, you can only pass behind you. That's rugby.
That's so confusing.
And then
It was wild.
baseball is when someone throws a ball at you, you hit it with a stick as hard as you can. And if it goes any distance at all without someone else catching it, you run like your legs will fall off if you don't, to 3 separate sections. And if someone is about to stop you in that section, they're in your way, you just bulldoze them
So
as
it's
hard as you
dumbass
can.
cricket.
No.
Section, like you know the bases, right? Like we use baseball as an analogy all the time in life.
Oh,
So like
I
first
know.
base,
Sexual analogy.
right? So you know, as you run the bases, it gets better. It's the same thing. That's why we have that analogy.
I got the opposite. I did after second base is no point in anything.
I really actually
Wait, how much money is there in
You'll
baseball?
hit a double, and that's it. You're just sitting there.
Just stay right there.
4 home runs for summer.
Now that we're in the topic, I actually want to know, since you're very familiar with it, what is the when are you allowed to shoulder check somebody? What does that come into play?
He just cares about fighting.
What sport are we talking about?
Baseball, hopefully. I've seen them do it. They're running for the base, someone's in the way, and they just hit him. They knock him out of the way.
I like to apologize to our viewers and remind them that Bear doesn't understand anything but punching.
This is true.
It's very rare that a guy on the other team will get in the way as you're running. They're more focused on catching the ball and hitting the base, because if they hit the base, then you're out.
Right.
So why don't
So-
you sit there with the bat?
Different priorities.
Hit him with the bat. Just keep the bat in your hand as you run.
Well,
If
you
they get
watch
in the
in
way,
the films, they drop the bat and then they run. Why not take the bat with you? Then you
Now
can.
I think it might be very entertaining to put Bear into the MLB All-Star game as one of the celebrities, and like, let's just see you deck somebody for no reason and get into the game.
Please do. If you want to watch somebody that can't catch, can't throw.
I'm gonna run with the baseball bat in my hand. Actually,
That's even worse. There's a ball guy and a bad guy for a reason.
No, that would be brilliant. I'm in. We have
It's this July.
this July. Hell yeah.
You should consider
Yeah,
it.
I actually, if I'm pitching, I won't even throw the ball. I'm just gonna run
No one's
at
gonna
the.
let you
I'm just gonna
pitch.
run at the batter and
one's
try
gonna-
and get it to touch the glove of,
No one's
of
gonna
the
let
guy
you
behind
pitch.
him.
Actually,
That could make for like one of the funniest TikToks. Like a guy who knows nothing about baseball in the MLB All-Star game. Look at all the things he does that he thinks is right.
It's exactly. I'm play it the way I think it should be played. That's what's gonna happen.
you're gonna punch someone and go to jail.
I don't know about going to jail, but the last All-Star game I went to, which is sad, I think it was like 3 years ago. I should be
Okay.
at every single one. I'll be at this one. Was in LA, and I'm forgetting names. Breaking Bad guy.
He was the father, Malcolm in the Middle, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yes. Bryan Cranston was just warming up in the ballpen, which is where you go to like practice. The pitcher practices throwing, the batter practices hitting. And he was warming up with Anthony Ramos, and Anthony threw the ball and it hit him right in the chest. And I watched Bryan go straight down and was like gasping for air. It was quite a scene. He was okay. He still played in the game, but it was quite a scene. So I just pictured that being you, Bear.
Unfortunately, probably, yeah. No, listen. I throw a hand at me, I'll catch it. You throw an inanimate object at me, I'm hoping to God it doesn't hit me in the face. I will just probably block my face and hope for the best.
Well, it hit me in the face, so.
Oh, you're way tougher than me. Don't worry about it.
You were looking at your phone. Like, legitimately, I think if you weren't, and Shaquille O'Neal, you are fully responsible for this. If she had not been paying attention to your gorgeous self, this never would have happened. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we love Shaq, but I actually do want to thank him because I think in the meeting or the moment by me looking down at my phone, I think that saved me because I went like that. So it hit me here. If I didn't, it might have hit me like right here in the throat. And a ball going like 100 miles per hour. Well, it got hit. It was thrown at 100 miles per hour and he hit it as a foul. So it's probably going like 70 to 80 miles per hour. If that hit me right here, that could have been my life.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
So I think that actually saved me by like looking down into the side.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I just looked down straight, that would have hit me here or in the nose. That would have been bad.
You know what? We're doubting your own skills. You would have caught it out of the air, no doubt. And then that dude, that schmuck,
not a glove, straight hand.
I'm going to put this as nicely as I can. She's athletic. She's gorgeous. She's talented. That ball's 100 miles an hour. She's sitting there not expecting it to come at her face. The chances of catching a surprise ball, like that's not high.
The amount of people that were in my DMs being like, I bet she wasn't even paying attention to the game. Like, this is a reminder, pay attention to the game. Like, I was paying attention. So they got down for a second, but tell me one person who has gone to a game and didn't look down at their phone for 1 second, one time. Number one. Number two, even if I was fully paying attention, you think I'm catching that?
No, that's when you lost a tooth and you busted your nose. It sounds terrible to say. I'm really glad it hit you on the side of the jaw, but at least your jaw is clenched. If it had gone here, you'd be missing the rabbit teeth and have a busted nose.
I'm so lucky. The fact that I still have all of my teeth is wild.
Yeah.
What I heard through a little bird is that the filler in my lip was like an airbag to my teeth. And that's actually what protected my teeth from falling.
I need to get some filler.
No,
right?
Immediately.
Okay.
It's a little pro. I was like, okay, great.
You know what? This is gonna deviate real quick. I actually love that you said that in that way. Because I think it's too weird for people to talk about fillers and injections or cosmetics they have done to themselves, and the confidence that you come out with and you talk about it and say it actually helped a little bit potentially in this what could have been a worse injury in this instance. Yeah, that's fantastic. No, I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah, thank you. I have nothing to hide. I think that when it comes to Botox, fillers, plastic surgery in general, like, do you, but make it look natural. Like, everybody is so beautiful. Just enhance your beauty rather than change your face. And I think if you do that, then it's beautiful and amazing. But like, it gets a little too much when you start changing your actual look with fillers, because that's when you're like, I can tell you a filler, but if you can't tell, then it's beautiful.
Yeah, you've done it right.
I agree with you there. I've got more Botox in my face than blood.
Yeah, your forehead rarely moves.
Yeah, mine hasn't moved in years. But I don't care. It's funny. You're saying that they're saying, oh, you should have catched it or you weren't watching. I do find it interesting the way that people react to women in sports or women that like video games. First, it's always they'll challenge you and question. Then it's you must be here for the men. You can't just enjoy sports. And so I find that double standard ridiculous. And I think it's awful that now that, you've kind of gotten injured there, this is now coming out like it's somehow your fault or problem.
Yeah, I love to go back at trolls sometimes, especially when I'm bored in bed, because I have very thick skin. You can't hurt me. So I was like, this is going to be fun. So I was like going back at trolls to the point that multiple of them were like, sorry, I was just being a troll. I really hope you feel better. But like the amount of times that I was like, I really like somebody was saying something about like maybe having a busted lip will fix that smile of hers, or that busted smile of hers, or something like that. So I was like, what was my response? It was something really good though. It was something along the lines of like, I really hope that my pain and recovery is helping you smile today. I hope that once I recover, I can smile just the same as you. It's like that kill them with kindness kind of thing, where then all of a sudden they're like, oh, now I feel bad. And now they have to apologize. But you would be shocked how many people thought they were original, but said the exact same thing. And are you ready for it? This goes to what you were saying, Summer. This definitely isn't the first time she took an athlete's ball to the face.
Oh, well, I mean, how many times are you going to hear? I hear that shit all the time from men, honestly. So I can't imagine what it's like for you guys.
No, that's one of those. The only reason she'd be there is if she's screwing somebody, not liking.
The first thing is always to blame the woman for whatever happened, anyways. It's almost like a standard now.
Yeah, we're working with Cassius Marsh for one of the TV shows we're doing for ESPN, and he said it's funny, his female fans always seem to know more about sports than the male fans, and they get questioned more.
It's just assumed, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
We just gotta flip the switch on that, and I really think that we're really in a time right now where women in sports are starting to thrive, and it's baby steps there, but the women who are at the top of their game, from Erin Andrews to why can't I remember anyone's name today? She's literally the quarterback on
hit in the face with a ball and like you're 80 on miles medication. Well, let's see. You're medicated. You got hit in the face with a ball, and you probably got a concussion. You can't figure out why you're not remembering.
I can't remember anyone's name. Carissa? She's on Fox Sports. She's like the quarterback of the whole table. But
yes, I totally know who that is.
Her
Sorry, I
he doesn't count. He only knows him.
But her, Erin Andrews, like they're killing it in the game. And I think that right now is this time for a lot of women like myself to break through and really create some waves within sports and create new avenues, which, for example, with me, I don't want to be a girl on the sidelines. I think I would be very good at that. But I really want to be breaking new ground where I'm the intersection between entertainment and sports. I have this passion for sports since I was a kid, but I have 12 years of experience working for the biggest outlets within entertainment news. So to put those together and get the fun, personal interviews from the biggest athletes in the world, which leads into my podcast, is literally the goal. So I think I'm kind of breaking my own path that doesn't really exist right now.
I have a meeting next week with ESPN. One of the things they're looking for is female-driven shows. Come up with an idea for a show.
Oh, I already have 2.
Send them my way.
I will, Summer. Call me right after this.
They want a segue for women in sports. I'm just saying. But
that's though. It is what is trending right now. There's a lot of places like ESPN that have reached out, and they're even looking for female content creators who can go to stuff like the ESPYs and stuff like that and bring their audiences to start caring. I think Taylor Swift gets a lot of recognition, if you will, and praise for making women care about specifically football because she's dating Travis Kelce. I think that this started way before Taylor Swift. She's getting her flowers, but like I think that women have always been interested in sports, and it's finally starting to break open that door for the women to really showcase their knowledge.
The joke of it is apparently, and this is if you guys look back, Taylor Swift was going to games before she was dating Travis Kelce. No one cared until she started dating one of the players. She apparently is a football fan, had been going for years to these games, and nobody paid any attention until she started dating a player. So that also shows you where the interest is. It's not in the fact that Taylor Swift is there.
Right.
It's in the fact that she is dating the football player.
Which goes back to the comments that I'm getting on TikTok, the comments I'm getting on Instagram, your original point, Summer. And it's, I don't know, I feel like we're in this like stage where like, you know that feeling that they must have felt back in the day right before women got the right to vote? I feel like we're kind of re-experiencing that, but with the women's right to have passion for sports, which is...
Well, it's across the board. We have a resurgence right now of what they're calling like the trad wife aesthetic and all of this traditional stuff coming up, and that never bodes well for women. You've got the loss of reproductive rights. You've got the loss of that. There's even a movement right now to revoke a woman's right to vote. Genuinely, if you guys Google it, it's a whole thing right now. So women, not wanting to be in sports or not wanting to, then people not recognize that women could have any interest in sports is just another way to other.
Just one day people will realize that women are so much smarter. And like when you mix their knowledge with a passion like sports, there could be some amazing thing that you men would benefit from immensely. Like the ideas that we could create around your passion for sports.
The fun of it is he has one of the only female managers in MMA. He runs his nonprofit with women. Everyone he works with is female. And something he's found is a great deal of success with that.
Well, Bear, let's hear it from you. What have you found by working with women?
I've lost my fucking keys in front of my eyes before. Okay. I don't think I'd find my ass if I didn't have women in my life. So there's just, people have different experiences everywhere. If you don't have a skill set, it doesn't matter what the other person's gender is. If they have that skill set, utilize it. It doesn't affect me one way or another. What's between your legs. I care if you have the knowledge I'm seeking at the time. That's what is most important to me. I just wish that more people took that concept instead of diminishing the value people have to bring because of how they were born.
But that also is part of the reason you've grown more successful than most people more quickly, because you don't care where it's coming from. You see that with Sam Alvey as one of the first female corners in the UFC, and that was his wife, and she won America's Next Top Model. And she corners and she fights.
But that's just it. I was raised by a single mother too for most of my life anyway. So it's not like I'm going to grow up to hate women or think less of them. I watch one. That'd be really fucking stupid, by the way. But
I'd like to remind everyone, every time we use bad language, we give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and free MMA. We swear because we care.
Fuck yeah. But no, I'm just saying that it wouldn't make any sense for me at that point to devalue what a woman has to offer. Who cares?
It's true.
I am more likely. I find more men who know absolutely nothing about what they're talking about than I do women, because typically the desire to bolster and seem better than who you are, I think, is a more of a male trait. I think women tend to be a lot more honest with what they can and cannot do. And maybe that's part of the whole machismo thing. You shouldn't admit when you're wrong or can't do something. But to be honest, if you can't do it, get someone who can, regardless of what their gender is.
I like that.
Talent is talent at the end of the day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it doesn't matter where it comes from or to what degree. As long as they have more than you and you need it, there they are. What does it matter who they are? Unless they're Hitler. I don't care what skills Hitler has. I don't want anything from him.
That just took a turn. A really unexpected turn.
You make my brain hurt.
Listen,
you go through this. I'm like, that is
why you have women involved.
That is a really good point. Good job. And then you just drove it.
But every man listening to this right now exactly understood where I was coming from, where I made that point. That sounded.
That is why we need women in the world.
So let's talk about the Austrian painter.
Yes, that's how you want to remember him. Okay.
Yes, that is how I would like history to remember him. I'd like history to remember him as the man that sexually assaulted his niece, that was a ruthless and mentally ill drug addict. Yes, really I would like to remember everyone, because right now, especially with the resurgence of white supremacy, with the devaluation of women, with the anti-Semitism coming out, yes, I would like people to remember that he was a drug addict that sexually assaulted his underage niece for years and years and years until she killed herself.
It was just Holocaust Remembrance Day just a few days ago. So we could take a moment for that. On that note, I don't know if y'all know, but I'm Jewish. And with the rise of anti-Semitism, especially after October 7th, I was very lucky, but I got to interview some of the hostages. And those stories have yet to be released, but I still haven't heard the details that they shared within those interviews out loud. And Bear and Summer, I know that you got to visit and meet with Ophir as well. So yes. I think that I have no words from it. It's one of those experiences that just leaves you completely speechless, but I know that we'll all work together and find a really special thing for those interviews to be released.
I was so angry at I'm not going to say which sports team, but at one of the sports teams, because he just wanted to go meet this celebrity, and it wasn't the celebrity. Celebrity was all for it. The sports team was worried that it would be taking a political stance to introduce him, and that pissed me off.
Yeah.
I think what I found, I actually was talking to an entertainment lawyer about this recently. My entertainment lawyer, not that I was going to sue anybody, just we were just having a conversation as we were going to a game. But we found it very interesting how the NBA has, in our opinions, disassociated itself from its fan base. And that's why they are in the position that they're in right now. And by disassociating themselves from their fan base, they're being so overly cautious that they won't let themselves or any of their players take a stance on anything. And because of that, they're creating even more distance between themselves and the fan base. So it's going to be really interesting in the next few years, if the NBA doesn't change anything, to see what ends up happening to the sport.
Well, you're seeing a diminishing return on people going. You're seeing the costs rise. You're seeing people just aren't having that return. You see it a lot in football. You see it in boxing. MMA has really taken over for boxing. You're seeing it in a lot of sports. And it seems since Kaepernick, since people started complaining about Kaepernick taking a knee, which for those that don't know, Kaepernick took a knee because he wasn't happy with the treatment of Black Americans, which 100%, he's not wrong there. So a friend of his that was in the Army Special Forces told him what we would do in solidarity was take a knee. And so he was told by this military veteran, if you want to be respectful but protest, take a knee. And that's where this come from. And then it led to this where everyone's like, well, how dare you take a knee? But it was a military vet that told him this is a respectful way to protest. And since then, less and less organizations and sports teams have allowed individual thought and opinion from their players, or individual action or risk. And it's backfiring tremendously on them. I think you really hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, I think the NBA is struggling with that. The NFL has been super open, at least in my eyes, from the things that I've seen ever since the Colin Kaepernick situation. I think the reason Colin Kaepernick situation went so extreme as it did is because our president got involved and had comments, and that's why it blew up to the extreme that it did. But like, my friends right now are getting very politically involved, even though they're in the NFL. Like, for example, one of my friends, Bobby Okereke, who's the captain of the New York Giants, he just hosted an entire event at his own home for Cory Booker. And so they're really getting involved, even though they're still in the league. They're still at the top of their game and in their prime. They're getting involved in the things that they're passionate about. That's making a stance. I'm
going to say so basketball. Take a note from football. We are at the end of the show. We got caught up talking and actually missed 90% of the questions I was supposed to ask you. I'd love to have you on again and talk a little bit more about this. I love your insight. I got to tell you, we have a mostly male audience. They love you and they love hearing about this from you. So I think this is you talking to these young men in a great way. They mostly come because he's here, in a great way.
But today they came because you're here.
And I'd love to have you on
again. I don't have a busted face for y'all.
Perfect. Well, actually, we wanted to see the busted face, but don't tell anyone. Madison,
on my Instagram, it's still there. I will never take it down, and you guys can see how disgusting I looked.
Make sure you go follow Madison, please. She also has a podcast, and she's got a couple of shows with us coming out that I haven't even told her about yet that have been greenlit. So we're rolling there. I'd like to remind everyone, please tune in. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following Madison. And I know you usually come here for Bears. So he's got some fights coming up. We'll give you all of that information. I'm the Baroness, where I'm with my co-host, Bear Fiorda. And of course, our special guest, Madison. Make sure you're following her. I'm going to put up her social media. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Good night.
This has been Behind the Scenes with the Baroness and Bear Fiorda. Only on Talk 4 Media.